The happiest thing in Cold Snow Snake King's life was having his snakeskin peeled off and his tail cut off, because only then could he find his destined mate. This was all because in this world, the ratio of men to women is a shocking 10,000 to 1, and snake men are especially hated by all females. The only way to get a mate is by praying through self-mutilation. But due to a plane trip on a national airline, the girl who was run over by a pig 3 times, upon opening her eyes, realized she had arrived at a forest. At this moment, in front of her eyes was a huge golden snake with its mouth open. Senkian closed her eyes, thinking she was probably finished. But the pain she expected never came. Instead, the large snake kept pushing a wild boar towards her. "Is this for me?" She looked down at the little female, not understanding why she wasn't eating the wild boar. He remembered that the females of his tribe used to love fruit. He immediately climbed the tree and picked some. He placed the red fruits in the little female's lap. Senkian was stunned. This giant snake wasn't eating her. Why was it giving her food? Well, whatever. Even if it was fattening her up to eat later, it was fine. She ate the red fruits in 2 bites instead of 3. She looked at the little female with satisfaction, then devoured the wild boar on the ground in 1 gulp. Senkian felt how the large snake swallowed such a large animal in 1 bite. "My belly is a little bit bigger." She couldn't resist the curiosity and touched the snake's bulging belly. Anyway, she was already there. I encountered such a big snake again. Survival is a problem, so I might as well do whatever I feel like. Be happy before dying. She was excited. It was the first time a female was willing to touch him, and she even looked at him so tenderly. His snake tribe is often shunned by other races, like him who was driven out of the tribe as soon as he reached adulthood. Even his own mother refused to touch him. After satisfying herself, Senkian leaned back on the large snake's body, watching as it carried her through the forest. She didn't know how long the snake had been slithering. Then, they stopped in front of a huge rock the size of a detached house. In the center of the rock was a 3-meter-high entrance. Upon entering, she discovered that the interior was very spacious, and there were several small crevices. Senkian slid down from the snake, carefully examining the surroundings. It seems this is the place to sleep. Although she didn't understand why the snake had brought her here, perhaps as a food reserve, at least she was sure that for now, she was safe. She only hoped it wouldn't hurt when the time came. Senkian sat obediently on the rock. The large snake licked her face, made some hissing sounds, and went out. She waited for a while, but the large snake didn't return. With the light coming in from the entrance, she could see that the cave was huge, probably something similar to a living room, so out of curiosity, she began to explore everywhere. When she returned to the cave with freshly picked fruits in his mouth, he saw that his little female was already active. Happily, he placed the fruits in the little female's arms. Senkian had already been fed once before, so she began to eat the fruits with familiarity. The green fruit had a similar texture to green grapes, which made the newly awakened Senkian eat several in one go. Senkian held up the green grape-flavored fruit and smiled at the large snake. "Big snake, thank you. This is delicious. Try some." Seeing the snake's head getting closer and closer, Senkian directly put the fruit into its mouth. The girl fed him ginkgo nuts, and he was so happy. "Big snake, eat more. We agreed, okay? If you eat the fruits, you can't eat me, okay?" She didn't understand what the little female was saying, but seeing her talking to him and smiling, he was so happy, he almost coiled up in joy. He quickly responded to the little female, "SSSSSS, be my mate." Although she didn't understand what the large snake was saying, she perceived its joy. Had it perhaps noticed her acts of kindness? Then her chances of survival increased. She enthusiastically imitated its sound, emitting some hisses, but unexpectedly, the snake stopped completely. It backed away toward the cave, looking back every 3 movements. She had no idea what the large snake was planning. "A moment ago, we seemed to communicate well." The snake climbed the tree as a sign of grievance. It didn't understand why the little female, who had just given it fruit. "How did you get angry so quickly?" In the hole, her feet were at a height equivalent to 3 times her size from the ground. Without the large snake's help, it was impossible for her to get down by herself. Somehow, I thought of my grandparents in the countryside. I always said I would go see them when I had time, but I postponed the trip for 4 or 5 years due to the distance and uncomfortable transportation. Now, perhaps I would never see them again. As Sinkian thought about it, her nose hurt. She quickly wiped away her tears. Think about the bright side, how nice not having to be a corporate slave. Look, not having traveled to ancient times is also luck. With your skills and palace intrigues, you would have been executed in seconds. If I had traveled to interstellar space, a blind person driving a mecha would be a roadkiller. It's pleasant in the forest, eat fruit when hungry, and drink natural water when thirsty. If you're tired of living, at least you could be a snack for the giant snake. The more she comforted herself, the more uneven she felt. Tears kept flowing, and there was no way to stop them. Seeing the large snake getting closer and closer, its open mouth showed a bloody red interior. Its two sharp, venomous fangs could skewer her like a lamb kebab. She grabbed the snake's mouth, closing it directly. "Big snake, don't eat me. I'm skinny and small, I only have bones that will hurt your teeth. I'm very easy to care for. With a few red fruits I can survive." She felt a little guilty. Was it because he was too far away from the little female? It makes sense, females are usually timid. She had just arrived. How could he move away from her? Even if the little female was angry with him, he shouldn't have gone so far away. She wanted to lick the little female's face to console her, but unfortunately his snout was being hugged by her. He used his snake tail to gently tap the little female's back. Sinkian felt much better after crying. She felt that the large snake was probably comforting her. She wiped her tears with her arms. She carefully asked the large snake, "Big bear, can you take me to the river? I want to wash my face." She didn't understand what the little female wanted to express, so he stuck out his forked tongue, trying to lick the tear marks on the little female's face. Water riverbank. Seeing the large snake look at her confusedly, Sinkian pointed to the fruit peel on the ground and made gestures as if she were swimming, trying hard to express that she wanted to go out. The little female wants to eat purple fruits. She felt as if he half understood. He turned around and slid down the rock wall, but the next second his tail was hugged by the little female. She quickly wrapped his tail around the little female's waist, making sure the little female wouldn't fall. Then he turned and slid toward the depths of the forest. Sinkian didn't expect the large snake to understand her words. "It really sent me to the stream." Relieved, she stroked the snake's belly. She could feel the little female's happiness. He thought he had done well to come and collect purple fruits. After she left Sinkian on the grass, he indicated that he would go collect white fruits, and that the little female should wait for him sitting there. Sinkian washed her face several times, lifted her skirt, and wet her feet by the stream. The large snake returned to her side at that moment. He split the husks with his teeth and left them on her lap. She couldn't help but exclaim, "It really is a snake that understands humans." Almost ripe. "Big snake, you go soak too, it's very relaxing. I'll probably spend the rest of my life here, I can't be without water." The large snake seemed very intelligent. Therefore, she decided to teach the large snake simple and easy to understand things. Every time she collected water with her hands, she held it out in front of the snake, repeating, "Water." After repeating it more than 10 times, she placed the purple fruits before the snake's eyes. Fruit. Repeating the same gesture as with the water, the snake recovered from his illness. She observed docilely as the little female repeated over and over. He thought it was probably the language of the little female's tribe. The little female repeated it 2 or 3 times and he understood, but he loved the sound of her voice. He responded by licking the back of her hand with his forked tongue from time to time. At noon, her stomach rumbled. Resigned, she sighed and continued eating fruits. She looked at the sky, licked the little female's cheek. S, I'll go hunt. Sinkian watched as the large snake quickly moved away in the blink of an eye, sitting on the ground, heartbroken. If the large snake abandoned her, how long could she survive here? No, it can't be. The large snake must have gone to look for food. Sinkian didn't dare to walk around. She sat obediently, praying for the large snake to return. She remembered that the little female didn't like wild boar meat, so he hunted a fawn, especially for her. Upon returning, he saw the little female greeting him happily. He couldn't help but feel a burst of happiness in his heart. No wonder everyone looks for a female. It turns out that taking care of a little female is such a joyful thing. She placed the red-horned fawn in front of the little female. S. Eat quickly, my little female. Is it for me? Sinkian blinked. Quote, "You eat it, big snake. I don't eat raw meat." She saw the little female shake her head. His eyes were full of tenderness. No wonder the little female was thinner and smaller than the others. How is she going to gain weight just by eating fruits and no meat? Shai thought silently that he had to fatten up the little female. Seeing the large snake place a deer larger than herself in front of her mouth, she quickly covered her mouth. "I won't eat." But she put a piece of meat directly into her mouth. Once the raw meat reached her stomach, her face turned even paler. She didn't know whether to complain about kissing a snake first or complain about chasing deer under the sun. "If I am guilty, let the law punish me. It is not a python," the snake leader fed Minnie. He only released her after making sure the little female was full. In one bite, he swallowed the remains of the deer meat she left. The first thing Senkian did after being released was simply rinse her mouth with running water. She felt nauseous but didn't dare to vomit. She feared that if she vomited, the large snake would put raw meat in her mouth again. She didn't know what to do. It broke his heart. Didn't the little female's tribe feed her? Is she full after eating so little? Senkian angrily pushed she away. Right now, she didn't care how terrifying the large snake was. This feeling of being given raw meat, she didn't want to repeat it even once more. Feeling the little female's fury, she felt lost. He tried to lick her with his forked tongue. Senkian indignantly grabbed his tongue, preventing the snake from withdrawing it. She couldn't see his tongue, swinging his tail back and forth with a pleading look. The two remained in a tense silence until Senkian involuntarily let out an exasperated laugh. Why was she arguing with a snake? The snake looked like a dog ashamed of misbehaving. She just wanted to vent. The snake did not retract its forked tongue. Its body remained coiled in spirals while its tail moved adulatingly. Senkian completely lost her anger but continued to lecture the snake. "I don't eat raw meat. Eating it would make me sick." The snake was colder than her. Hugging it was like grabbing ice. She just wanted to vent. The forest is so hot that people are panicking and lava at night. Senkian was taken to the nest by the snake. Shivering, she hugged her knees, took a look at the large snake, and lunged directly toward the large snake's tail, but instantly frowned. The large snake's body was colder than hers. At this moment, it was not very different from hugging a block of ice. She obediently curled up in a corner on it, covered with straw. She barely managed to sleep. In her dreams, someone hugged her while she was half asleep. Although that person did not have much body temperature, it was warm, but still much warmer than sleeping alone. When Senkian woke up, she heard a noise coming from the cave outside. Then an odor of cold snow reached her nose. She poked his head into the cave and saw that the little female was still lying on the herbs with her eyes closed. He found it strange. By the smell, the little female was already awake. Why was she still lying down? Was she sick? She crawled worriedly toward her. His forked tongue cautiously touched her sick cheek. His fangs vibrated with concern. He sighed, gently pushed her body with his head. He pushed the little female several times, but she didn't move. He understood. The little female wants to eat in the nest. Although he didn't like the smell of food in his den, as long as the little female was happy, it was enough. She turned his head and went out to prepare the simsa venison. Senkian silently opened her eyes. Seeing that the large snake was not paying attention, she thought she didn't want to eat raw meat. Luckily, pretending to be asleep worked. At home, she pretended to sleep to trick her mother. Outside, she did it to trick the large snake. She felt really exhausted. She stood up and prepared to move. She had barely started to stretch when she saw a white and yellow mass enter. Before she could react, a piece of raw meat was put into her mouth. Senkian instinctively swallowed it instantly. She turned pale and fell sitting on the straw. "Damn snake, how cunning you are." She knew he had to do something. She pointed to the entrance of the cave, indicating that she wanted to go out. "SSSSS. I will eat the meat before leaving." As the large snake approached with another piece of meat, Senkian gritted her teeth tightly. With a decided heart, she ran briskly toward the cave and jumped. The violent sound of the wind echoed in her ears. The next second, the large snake wrapped around her and landed gently. She coiled several times around Senkian. Heaven knows how terrifying it was. If it weren't for his speed, the little female would have been in danger. Would. Senkian patted the snake's body, saying the words she had taught the large snake the day before. Senkian looked at the large snake with some guilt, seeing its anxiety. Yesterday, she had seen the large snake's speed. That's why she had jumped with confidence. She smiled apologetically at the large snake. This time, she did not go against the little female's wishes. He quickly brought 2 pieces of wood for the little female, fearing that something else would happen to the little female. Senkien used her teeth with effort to soften the burning wood. She left a long groove at one end. She placed some dry leaves, then pushed it forward with a stick of hard wood. Seki leaned on Senkien and watched. A long time passed. Senkien's arm was so sore that she couldn't lift it. Desperate, she threw the wood. How was she going to be able to make fire by rubbing sticks? Eat the raw meat calmly. She licked the wood that the little female had thrown. It was still warm. The little female wants fire. I'll go look for it. Mimi snake powder. Senkien ignored the running snake. She was still immersed in the idea that perhaps for decades, she would be doomed to eat raw meat. Here you go. 2 firestones rolled to Senkien's feet. Senkien bent down and picked them up, watching the large snake wag its tail. Then she looked at the stones in her hand. She understood. She threw the firestones, watched as the snake slid to pick them up back into her hands. Senkien threw it away. The large snake hesitated for a moment and then went to pick it up. Senkien threw it hard. The large snake picked it up, wagging its tail. Senkien threw it cheerfully. The large snake nervously wagged its tail. Oh, even though the future looks bleak, she is still here playing with the large snake. She is very nice. Although the large trees provide shade, she couldn't bear the scorching summer sun. She stretched several times, simply lying on the grass and not wanting to move. She guessed that the little female was playing with him. If he could make the little female happy, he was willing to pick it up hundreds of times. Seeing that the little female was tired and lying on the ground, he put a flint on the wood, wrapped another firestone with his tail, and struck it. A click was just heard. The wood began to burn. The fire grew little by little. Senkien had already sat down and watched in silence for a while. Had the large snake given her those 2 stones to make fire? Remembering everything that had just happened, Senkien covered her face with both hands and did not dare to face reality. The human and the snake sat in front of the campfire. The aroma of venison made Senkien unconsciously swallow saliva. The snake used its tail to wrap a piece of meat and pass it to the female's mouth. Senkien was about to reach out to take it, but the snake dodged it. Seeing the large snake's attitude, she deduced that it wanted to feed her. So she withdrew her hand. She blew several times to cool it. She bit again, so happy that tears almost came out. Although it had a slight fishy smell, the crust was burned, the meat is hard and woody, but it was cooked meat. After receiving several more pieces from the snake, she was so full that she could no longer eat more. Resting against a large tree, she finished Senkien's leftover roasted meat. He put out the small campfire with his tail. He circled the large tree, resting his snake head next to Senkien. Next time, use water to put out the fire, understood? Senkien worriedly lifted his tail to examine it. Indeed, she saw that some scales had blackened. They still retained the aroma of meat. I can't distinguish if it's venison or snake, the wind whispered through the leaves. She silently felt the little female's caresses. A scene he never thought he deserved in this life had come true. The pressure on his body suddenly increased. She transformed into his humanoid form, hugging the little female against his chest. I won't let you escape, my little female. Senkien woke up and discovered that she was back in the den. She left the cave and called the large snake several times. Seeing that the large snake was not there, she felt somewhat anxious. With a full stomach and well rested, now she needed to relieve herself. Big Snake, please come back soon. Big Snake, oh Big Snake, couldn't you leave me outside in broad daylight? Senkien walked back and forth quickly, but the large snake did not return. Cultivate millet at noon so the little female wouldn't be cold when sleeping at night. The sign depends on the infinitesimal quadrant over infinity, dividing terms of higher degree. Big Snake, come back soon, I miss you. Meanwhile, she was happily washing the bear's skin in the river. After completely cleaning the ashes from the bear's skin, hanging from the branch, let's wait for the beast's skin to dry before returning, so the little female wouldn't be cold when sleeping. On the way home, she took the opportunity to pick some red fruits. After leaving the skin and the fruits in the nest, in the deep part of the cave to the right, he found the little female hiding. Senkien was extremely frustrated. She waited a long time, but the large snake did not appear. She couldn't help but relieve herself at the entrance of the cave. How embarrassing! She decided to ignore the large snake. In the afternoon, Senkien turned her back and avoided looking at the large snake. The large snake felt discouraged not receiving the little female's caresses, but He soon recovered. He lifted the little female with his mouth and carried her back to the nest. Senkien's feet were suspended in the air, her hands still waved rebellious. Upon reaching the nest, Senkien was placed on the ground. The soft texture under her buttocks surprised her, and she looked down. The beast skin, freshly warmed by the sun, gave off a warm aroma. The slight herbal scent makes people feel comfortable. "Thank you, Big Snake!" For a moment, she forgot her previous decision. She happily rolled on the skin. The little female likes it so much. He was very happy. The serpent's head gently nudged the small female. "Big serpent, I want to drink water." She coiled around the small female, placed her on his body, and swam to a nearby pond. While the big serpent was away, she thought hard. Living in a stone cave would be very uncomfortable. She couldn't wait for the serpent every time she needed to relieve herself. It would be even worse when her period came. What would happen when the serpent smelled the trace of snow? The big serpent wouldn't go wild and eat her, would it? That wouldn't happen, would it? Oh yes! She must convince the serpent to live below. How to convince him? With words as useless as her father's? Why do my eyes always contain tears? Because often my life does not depend on me. She sighed deeply, nodding with determination. She couldn't delay her great mission of reading. She pointed to herself and smiled timidly at the serpent. "Big serpent, my name is May. My name is Senkien." She froze. The small female in front of him was exceptionally charming, making his heart pound. Water, stone, grass, wash, and moisten. Senkien pointed to each one and pronounced it using what she learned yesterday. She wanted the big serpent to understand basic communication. Senkien walked a few steps. How could she make the big serpent understand walking? Sen thought about it, gathered her courage, and ran forward with big strides. Every so often while running, she would trip over branches on the ground and fall heavily. She sighed, turned around, looking at the sky. She slithered to an empty space. The serpent swam to Senkien's side and gently licked her scraped knees. She couldn't give up. Senkien stood up, took a few steps, then ran a few more. After repeating this several times, she noticed something strange. The female's falling was not intentional. Whenever branches or stones appeared, the small female wouldn't even stop, as if she couldn't see them. After realizing this, when Senkien moved, she would clear the obstacles near her in advance. Senkien panted while resting under the tree. She observed the small female's eyes, a little dull, not bright, but she could see him. Why didn't she see what was under her feet? Did they abandon the small female because of her eyes? "Senkien, don't be sad. I will keep you company later. I will never abandon you, I swear by the beast god." Night fell. The stars shone brightly. "I want to live below," Senkien said, leaning on Shi. "We will live below in a few days. The rock is too high. I can't climb down." She placed Senkien in his nest, took the beast skin with his teeth, and placed it over Senkien. He coiled several times and slept next to her. Senkien touched the blanket and sighed. "Florida big serpent, you are so intelligent. If a few days ago someone told me that a serpent can make fire and weave blankets, I would definitely think they were crazy. Coming to this forest hasn't been so bad after all, thanks to you, big serpent. Without you, I probably wouldn't have made it this far. As long as you don't eat me, this life of eating, sleeping, and repeating is quite good. Big serpent, big bear, I will thank you / repay you." Every day after that, she stayed with the big serpent in the meadow. Thanks to her efforts, the big serpent finally agreed to build her a home on land. The serpent carried wood and straw in his mouth to build. She was sitting under the tree eating fruit. During those 10 days or fortnights, she was no longer surprised that a serpent knew how to build houses. It could be said that she was now a woman of the world. Although the appearance of the house was not very aesthetic, for Senkien it was more than enough. The big serpent spread a thick layer of reeds on the ground, then covered everything with a layer of animal skin. Unable to wait, she walked around the hut. "Big serpent, thank you!" A familiar sensation made her think to herself that something was wrong. The new straw hut still lacked a few things. She went to the forest and brought back insect-repelling herbs. Senkien peered out to see what the big serpent was doing. Sudden abdominal pain. A familiar sensation made her think to herself, this is not good. She smelled the faint scent of snow. It came from the small female. Swimming back to the house, he saw the fresh, snow on the inside of Senkien's legs. This scene pierced his heart. The small female is bleeding. In Shi's memory, bleeding meant death. She crawled to where the small female was, tenderly licking the snowy fluids from the small female, emitting a mournful hiss. The snow there was licked up. Senkien's head let out a sharp, explosive shriek. Her cheeks flushed. She forcefully pushed the serpent's head to stop him. "Light me a fire!" The big serpent remained motionless, looking at Senkien sadly. That look gave Senkien the illusion that she would die for the third time. "I'm hungry, very hungry. Go away." Finally, the big serpent left and made a fire for her. Senkien looked at her shift with some reluctance. With determination, she tore off a piece from the hem, left the house, and filled the strip of cloth with ashes of burned herbs. She made a slip knot to use it as a sanitary pad. Her belly suddenly ached. She passed a stone bowl to the serpent to fill with water, placing it over the fire to warm it. The big serpent finished everything, clinging to Senkien, emitting a sound similar to crying. Tears fell from his vertical pupils. If her body didn't prevent it, she would want to hit her thigh in astonishment. My God, serpents also cry. "Big serpent, it's just my menstrual period. It won't. Don't cry anymore." Senkien covered her stomach with one hand while trying to comfort the big serpent with the other. The pain made salty tears well up. Her whole body was covered in cold sweat. Not even the two beast skins covering her managed to warm her belly. She saw everything, wishing he could take away her pain. He licked the small female's forehead. The small female moaned in pain. He immediately backed away, afraid of hurting her more. "Omi!" she cried, complaining amidst tears to the big serpent. The serpent thrashed in circles, desperate. She cried and screamed. The more desperate the serpent became, the more she cried. "Don't cry, darling. I'll go get hemp fruits and serpent eggs for you." With gentle movements, he lifted Senkien. He returned Senkien to the Leo's chow nest. The place he was going to was very far. The small female would not be safe down below. Only in his lair could he be calm. His destination was the far west end of the ferocious abyss forest. Now, that place is the territory of a wandering eagle beast. On a cliff, there were several dry trees without leaves but with fruits. Eating it can relieve pain. How did he know so much? Because it was originally his territory. At that time, he had just reached maturity. He was defeated by an eagle that suddenly appeared. He fled 3 miles north. Fortunately, the new territory had a good environment. He liked it very much, so he was not so distressed. This time, for the small female, he had to get the cannabis fruits at all costs. The horned eagle in the cave opened its eyes. A beast man had entered its territory. Is it the scent? Could it be that bothersome serpent man? An eagle's scream pierced the sky. A male eagle soared through the skies. After several exchanges, she raised his serpent body, watching the sky with keen attention, ready to fight at any moment. The horned eagle appeared on the horizon. Its sharp beak flashed with a cold gleam as it attacked the serpent's head. She dodged at an impossible angle. Instantly, his tail whipped like a lash. The horned eagle leaned and ascended. The giant rock hit by the tail exploded with a boom. After several exchanges, the eagle and serpent were evenly matched. The eagle's eyes showed ferocity. Its sharp talons trapped the serpentine body. It flew up into the sky immediately and violently threw him down from the air. She entangled his tail around the eagle's talons. He showed his sharp, venomous fangs and bit the horned eagle's wing. The horned eagle let out a sharp cry. Its sharp beak pecked repeatedly at the serpentine system. She firmly bit the wing for the 3rd time, injecting a large amount of venom into the sky. The horned eagle shrieked desperately. It struggled uselessly before finally falling onto the hard rocks. It spat out a gush of fresh blood. She released his bite, collapsing weakly on the ground while panting. From head to tail, his body was covered in wounds. Besides horrible tears, a large section of skin and flesh had been ripped from his waist. A frightful sight. "You've become stronger," the horned eagle murmured without resentment. "The light in my eyes gradually fades before a beast stronger than you. It is the law of nature." She got up, staggering. His small female was waiting for him at home with the red fruits. He had to return before nightfall. He couldn't allow his small female to feel fear at night. Senkien smelled a metallic trace of snow. Hold her in his arms. She wanted to open her eyes to look. Her eyelids weighed like giant rocks. She was so tired and exhausted. She wanted to call the big serpent, but fell into infinite darkness. Big serpent! Senkian's eyes snapped open. Dawn had broken. The big serpent contentedly brought her a roasted bird egg. It smells so good! Senkian took the egg, as big as her head. Her smile froze as she looked at the big serpent. You're hurt! With trembling hands, she touched the serpent. Tears fell worthless. Since arriving here, all she did was cry. But seeing the big serpent injured, she couldn't contain them. She thought his small female was bleeding because of the snow. He brought a dozen green analgesic fruits to her legs, licking the small female's tears. SS's SSSSSS, eat quickly, darling. Son, after eating, it won't hurt. Don't cry, don't cry. Senkian felt even worse. Why did this venomous serpent only have eyes for her? Couldn't you take better care of yourself? She approached the big serpent's body full of wounds. She gently blew on the wounds. Her voice broke. The pain is flying away. The serpent abandoned and moved his tail to act flirtatiously. The pain is gone. I don't feel any pain anymore. She didn't know which bird it came from. The roasted bird eggs had a milky aroma. When tasting them, they were soft and sweet. In the days when she only ate roasted meat, the taste of the bird eggs made Senkian fly with happiness. Big serpent, you eat too! She didn't allow the big serpent to refuse. She tore off a piece of egg white and put it into the serpent's mouth. The human heart is not made of iron. At first, she only hoped to survive in a dangerous world, clinging to this serpent with human traits. But the more time they spent together, the more evident the big serpent's kindness towards her became. Whatever Senkian wished for, the big serpent found a way to get it. She had been here for so long, but with the serpent by her side, she hadn't suffered a scratch. She didn't see ferocious beasts or run into the insects she feared so much. The serpent pampered her like a treasure in his hands. She chewed the wood the serpent gave her to clean her teeth. The soft mint flavor was refreshing and pleasant to chew. There were also the light green fruits that, when she ate one when she felt pain, the pain disappeared in less than half an hour. During her period, she didn't even have to walk. The serpent carried her wherever she wanted, although that was already usual. She could notice even more care and tenderness than usual. The alternate world also has a great capacity for recovery. In just 3 days, the big serpent's wounds had healed. Pink calluses had already grown. Then I will surrender to you. With bee skins covering her abdomen, she leaned against a tree. She watched how the big serpent clumsily heated water for her. Her melodious laughter did not cease. Clumsy serpent! If it were his hand, then I will surrender to you today. The big serpent caught several fat bass in the pond with its tail. He wielded a stone knife and cleaned the entrails, throwing them into a stone pot full of water. Under Senkian's endless praises, he added wild herbs. After cooking, he seasoned with saltstone. The milky white fish soup gave off a tempting aroma that opened the appetite. These stone tools were made by she in the past. They were moved from a cave in the west, including the salt stones that increase strength when consumed. The small female is in the melted snow. Eat more to have strength. He must ensure that the small female survives. The big serpent used a banana leaf to fan her. He hummed a song while enjoying the tranquility. I have a big python, I never ride it. She soaked her shift and placed it on a flatter rock. She took a thick stick and began to beat it. She felt very proud. Senkian, completely recovered, was in a good mood while washing. She moved her head and hummed. The pond was very deep. She only dared to stand on the edge. The icy water fell on her body, the scorching heat of summer. Seeing her shift dirty and worn out, she soaked it and placed it on a flat rock. She took a thick stick and began to beat it. Senkian smiled faintly. This life wasn't bad at all. The big serpent went out hunting. I won't be back for a while. Senkian spread her shift over the rocks on the shore. She came out of the pond naked. She dressed in the skin skirt the giant serpent made her. She twirled flirtatiously in the same spot. The various behaviors of the giant serpent in the forest, as well as the flora and fauna of the forest several times larger, made her doubt if she had traveled to a world of beastmen. But thinking about it, it seemed impossible. She has been with her for almost a month and had never transformed into a human. Apart from the giant serpent, she hadn't seen other animals with intelligence either. She didn't know if it was the food here or not using electronic devices for so long, but her vision had improved notably. Her myopia of over 1,000 diopters was reduced to 400 to 500. She affectionately hit the iconic giant tree. She tried to climb up slowly. After a great effort, she reached the lowest branch, which, although the lowest, was still very high. Sinkian spotted a yellow line moving toward them in the distance. She originally wanted to call the big serpent to bring her down. At first she thought of going, but suddenly a malicious idea arose. She tore off a vine, turned it into paste, and smeared it on her body to hide her scent. She also tore off a bunch of leaves as camouflage. She squinted her eyes to look at the big serpent. As expected, the serpent, upon returning, did not see the small female. He dropped his prey and began to look for her everywhere. Upon discovering that the Six's house was empty, he became clearly nervous. He quickly slithered to the nest. In less than a second, he left the nest. His continuous hissing made his desperation clear. The serpent crawled through the grass, going to the pond and then to the forest. The incessant hisses broke her heart. Senkian, guilty and confused, threw the leaves and shouted loudly, "Serpent!" She heard her voice. He became a shadow and reached Senkian like lightning. He firmly wrapped Senkian. She whimpered with a plaintive voice. He hadn't smelled the beast. He thought the small female had escaped. "I'm sorry, big serpent." Senkian hugged the serpent's tail, feeling somewhat guilty, but the hiding was very fun. Next time, she would teach the big serpent to play games. "Big serpent, I need to bathe. Let's go to the water." Senkian hooked the serpent's head. The sticky feeling on her body was uncomfortable. Was she so easy to console? She now only thought about the small female kissing him. He was boiling with happiness. How could he remember his previous sadness? He obediently led the small female to the pond, wagging his tail seeking praise. Senkian stroked the big serpent's head. To her eyes, the big serpent was like the golden retriever at home. Without worrying at all, she took off her clothes in front of the big serpent and bathed in the pool. The serpent's tail then began to wag more enthusiastically. The big serpent abruptly stopped his tail but still wanted to look. Senkian was eating rabbit meat, but in her mind, she remembered the bird egg she ate during her period days ago. After her period, the big serpent no longer brought her any more eggs. Senkian was crestfallen and discouraged. Was it that for the big serpent, eggs could only be eaten when it snows? "Big serpent, I want to eat eggs." Senkian looked longingly at the big serpent who was lighting the fire. "Big serpent, Senkian wanted to eat eggs tonight." She happily looked at the pink powder. SSSSS. Senkian chewed on a mint branch while resting on the big serpent. The big serpent put out the fire and carried Senkian back to the nest. He was going to look for bird eggs. The small female is not safe down below. The nest is impregnated with her scent. The wild beasts dare not approach. SSSSS. Today, when you finish eating, I will go look for bird eggs. Senkian nodded obediently. After so long with the big serpent, whenever the serpent goes on a trip, he leaves her in the stone cave. It seems there will be bird eggs tonight. There wasn't much entertainment staying on the giant rock. Senkian decided to take vines to weave a ladder. When it was finished, she would no longer need the big serpent to take her home. She could stay outside longer. Time passed slowly. She had just gotten up to take the waste and throw it out of the cave. Suddenly, a large part of the light in front of her was blocked. Senkian was frightened and quickly backed away a few steps. She opened her eyes in disbelief. In front of her was a human. The man standing in front of her extended his hand. "Valuable female. That is why he is feared by beasts of all races and is rejected for frequently kidnapping females. The serpent beast is no longer here. Don't be afraid, I came to take you out of this dangerous place." Indeed, in this territory there was a female scent. One of the best warriors of the tribe. A few days ago, I reached the ferocious North Forest. I rushed to his lair and found the female. Quote, "The serpent beast is powerful, with gloomy and ferocious habits, and that is why bestials of other tribes feared him. Furthermore, he was rejected by the other tribes for frequently kidnapping females. After smelling the serpent beast's scent, I began to search his territory to prevent any female from being captured. Indeed, there is a female scent in the serpent beast's territory. I lurked day after day until the serpent beast finally left. He rushed towards the serpent's lair and saw the female. She was an incredibly beautiful female. Senkian did not understand what that man was saying, but that did not stop her from being excited to see someone of her own species. But the next second, a tail behind the man made her smile freeze. How was he a half-human? Quote, "The female spoke a very strange language. Is she speaking in serpent tongue? Senkian opened her mouth. He thought that perhaps the female had been kidnapped by the serpent beast in her childhood, which caused her to be unable to speak now. Taking advantage that the serpent beasts have not returned, I will first take you to the tribe. Don't be afraid, our tribe is very powerful. The males will protect you. Okay. He roared a backflip, landed, and turned into a tiger. Senkian opened her mouth. There were too many stimuli, and she couldn't assimilate them. Uke crouched down, indicating for the small female to get on. The big serpent hasn't returned yet. I'm not sure. Senkian shook her head as she backed away. She did not trust anyone other than the big serpent. Nor did she know if this beast man was good. She can't go with him. Uke saw the small female backing away. He thought the small female had been hurt by the serpent beast. She no longer trusted beastmen. His eyes reflected a flash of anguish. He wrapped the small female with his tail and ran back to the tribe. Big serpent, big serpent, big serpent, help, help, help! On a cliff thousands of kilometers away, she wrapped his tail around the roots of the tree, extending his body to get closer to the wobbly bird's nest. Suddenly, he felt a vague uneasiness. She shook his head, reaching the bird's nest. He slowly returned to the ground. The red-winged bird eggs, the small female loved them. He wanted to collect more. Then he quickly slithered north of the forest. The uneasiness in his heart made him long for the small female's touch. The sky turned red as the sunset illuminated the earth. There was a feeling of peace and serenity. Suddenly, the silent forest was agitated. Birds and beasts in the forest, from the center of the north, a heartbreaking scream emerged. The tiger advanced rapidly through the forest. Senkian's delicate skin was grazed by the herbs, with scars already covering her entire body. To avoid further damage, she firmly pressed her face against the tiger's back, grabbing the tiger's hair with both hands. Tears covered her face. Big serpent, come save me! Uke kept running under the moonlight. He couldn't stop. The serpent beast could pursue them at any moment. She would only be safe if she took the small female back to the tribe. Dash! She found a water source and put Senkian down. Then he hunted a hare and gave it to her. Senkian looked emaciated after 2 days without eating. Ignoring that the meat was raw, she devoured it voraciously, not daring to chew too much. As she ate, tears silently fell down her face. If she could see the big serpent again, she would never again ask to eat bird eggs. She missed him so much. Her whole body hurt. Everything hurts. Uke tried to lick the small female's tears, but the small female dodged him. Uke froze, filled with guilt. He hadn't been able to take care of the small female's feeding. When they reached the tribe, he would hunt the most elusive prey, a red-horned deer, as compensation for her. Once the small female finished eating, he helped the small female again to continue the journey. Wait a little longer and soon we will reach the tribe. When the light of dawn bathed her, the bustle around her made her weakened consciousness awaken. Upon opening her eyes, she saw pandas, deer, leopards, and white wolves, and many humans with animal features. Senkian was being carried in Uke's arms, exhaustively observing the landscape around her. Seeing that they had arrived at their destination, she was carried by this tiger man to the bamboo hut. The beast man roars. A woman came out of the bamboo house, just like a human, without animal ears or a tail. She was carried by this tiger man to the bamboo hut, but it goes out after the woman finishes speaking. Although, what is happening here? Ruija, the tribe's witch doctor, saw Uke in his arms covered in wounds. The small female rushed over to check her. I brought her from where the serpent men are. Witch doctor, look how she is. Ruija tenderly caressed the fragile small female. Only females in the hands of the serpent men end up so hurt. What beast man on this continent doesn't treat females like precious jewels, fearing they suffer the slightest harm? First, take the small female inside. Ruija looked at the males around him and quickly invited Uke to enter. Quote, small female, don't be afraid, I'm gonna cure your wounds. Lying on the bed, the woman in front of her held an unknown herb and approached her. The woman smiled sweetly, making the tension disappear. Could you let me go back? In an unfamiliar environment, she had no capacity to protect herself. Senkian had no choice but to docilely obey Ruija, doing everything possible to appear harmless. Ruija froze. She gently applied the medicine to Senkian. Her tribe was made up of wandering beasts from various tribes. Each tribe had slight linguistic differences, but the small female's language was something she had never heard. Perhaps the small female was kidnapped by the serpent beast in her childhood, She didn't even know the most basic beast language. Uke looked at the small female with a heavy heart. Ruige also considered that possibility. She gently stroked the small female's hair, guttural growls. He had just rescued her from the serpent's clutches. She hadn't eaten enough for days. Hunger twisted his stomach. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "I'm going out to hunt." Uke felt even more guilty. As soon as he finished speaking, he ran out of the hut. For a moment, only 2 people remained inside. Ruige smiled tenderly. She made an effort to calm the small female. Why? He had just rescued her from the serpent's clutches. Although an unknown woman remained after the tiger man left, that didn't give her much security. Despair overcame her. That tiger man had run out so fast, she didn't know if the big serpent could find her. She didn't want to end up with a tiger beast man. She wanted to use the modern knowledge she had learned to cultivate, develop weapons, and guide the tribe to glory, becoming a female tribal king. I hope she was useless, Senkian cried inconsolably. Apart from radishes, vegetables, cabbage, eggplants, and squash, all other green vegetables she simply called vegetables. They all became seeds, but I don't recognize any of them. Even if she knew them, the most she could do was dig a hole and water them every day. Whether they lived or died depended entirely on heaven. Her intelligence was limited, so she couldn't create great inventions. Heavens, send someone reliable to save the tribe. Furthermore, she felt no affection for the tiger, who took her out of her comfort zone and left her full of wounds. If she could, she would spend the rest of her life with the big serpent. Big serpent? Big serpent? Why aren't you a beast man? Senkian feared pain but didn't want to die either. Resigned, she accepted everything that was happening. Under Ruige's gentle gaze, she took the bowl of porridge to satisfy her hunger. Ruige was relieved to see Senkian eating, because she suspected that Senkian had been kidnapped by the serpent beast in her childhood. Ruige decided to take care of Senkian as a cub. As the tribe's healer, she had to ensure that every female lived healthily. First, teach the small female to speak. Ruige sat in front of Senkian, pointing to herself. Ruige, Senkian reacted quickly. This woman wanted to teach her to speak. She was worried about how to communicate. For each person, Ruige was very patient. Near the pile, near the juice, near the sink, she could clearly see the movements of her mouth. Ruige. Ruige nodded, smiling. She didn't expect this small female to be so intelligent. She learned fast. When Yuke returned to the tribe with great effort, carrying a red-horned deer, in the healer's house, harmony already reigned. Impressive, Yuke. Even a red-horned deer so hard to find has been hunted. The males in the street were eager to try. Now, who doesn't know that Ook brought back a small female? I heard she is small and self-centered, completely different from the females of the tribe. Some carried cotton, others held bee skins. One after another, they blocked the healer's entrance. Uke entered the bamboo hut tall and proud. He is the one who brought back the small female, the right to be the first male of a woman. The other humanoids can only grind their teeth. He stared at the bragging tiger. Small female, I brought you some meat. Senkian huddled behind Ruige, refusing to approach Uke. Ruige calmed the small female, smiling at Uke, whose furry ears perked up. Uke, according to the tribe's rules, you will be the first male beast, but she is injured and is a small female who cannot speak. These days, Senkian will stay with me. Take her back when she recovers. Uke looked at the wounds he had caused with guilt. He dropped his tail. I understand. I will come to see the small female every day, witnessing this scene, although she already knew it, but I really can't live with an unknown male without feelings. She didn't want to give up her purity just like that. She also didn't want to have intimacy. Being with the big serpent was more than enough. During their cohabitation, the healer quickly noticed the deficiency in her eyes. Every day she applied something to her eyes. At first she was scared, but it felt like eye drops. As she couldn't resist, she let her continue. To her surprise, her vision improved remarkably. Ruige, you really are my savior. 1 week in the tribe, she learned many things. She felt closer and closer to Ruige, but the longer she spent away from home, the more she missed the big serpent. Every day she looked out the window. She hoped the big serpent could find her. She didn't want to be Uke's partner. She asked Uke to take her back, but Uke always responded by fleeing. Ruige also disagreed with her returning. She said that serpent beasts are very ferocious, but the big serpent is just a spirit serpent, not an orc. Besides, the big serpent is good and gentle. Maybe the serpents of this world are, as they say, treacherous and cunning. But her big serpent is not. The forest is full of dangers. If she leaves the tribe on her own without the ability to protect herself, she could die at any moment under the jaws of the beasts. She can only hope that the big serpent arrives at this tribe soon. Senkian, are you going to the market? Uke smiled foolishly as he looked at Senkian inside the house. His right hand scratched his head shyly. I'm going with Ruij. Senkian has been in the tribe for so long, she has never left Ruij's house. First, because of the initial insecurity. Second, because she was surrounded by all kinds of animals. Ruij told her many useful things. For example, that females are scarce, a female can have many males, beast beings cannot hurt females, etc. All in all, she had nothing to do. Okay, let's go to the market today. The healer went to Hekora. It was the healer who asked me to take you to the market. Uke jumped in front of Senkian, showing his white teeth. Senkian, upon hearing it, shook her head discouraged. Then I won't go, you go alone. I'll catch you a red-horned deer. At the market there are many good things. They are rare beast beings from other places. It is held once a season. If you miss it, you will have to wait until the next one. Senkian pursed her lips. She hesitated for a moment but finally accepted. Seeing that Senkian was persuaded, Uke smiled with more joy. Don't laugh. Don't serve me. Senkian walked firmly ahead. She is not ready to become Yuke's partner, so she cannot give Yuke hope. Yuke doesn't care. He believes that sooner or later the small female will accept him. He happily followed behind Senkian. Why are you following me? Lead the way! In the Beastmen continent's markets, bartering is practiced. Items are exchanged when both parties agree. The Arsan tribe is located in the northern hemisphere of the continent. To the north is the Menhuan forest. To the southwest are vast prairies. There are plains in the east, volcanoes and small islands. That is why nomads from different places arrive every season. Beastmen gather in this tribe to exchange goods. Merman beastmen bring sea salt. Spider beastmen exhibit fabrics made of spider silk. Senkian couldn't see everything, looking here and there. Everything was curiosity for the small objects. Is there anything you want? I'm just looking, nothing special I wish for, Senkian shrugged, pretending indifference. Of course she wanted it, but she had nothing to exchange. She doesn't want to owe Yuke a favor. A palm-sized leopard cub crashed into her leg. The reaction made him roll on the ground. His fluffy fur looked like a ball of wool. No one can resist fluffiness, especially fluffy cubs. She picked up the leopard cub in her arms and rubbed his head. How cute. Whose are you, little leopard? Woof, woof. The cub was not yet an adult and could not take humanoid form. He struggled to escape from Senkian's arms. Uke looked resentfully at the insolent leopard cub while wishing Senkian would also pet him. His name is... Put him on the ground right now. Uke wiggled his nose. Who could let him go? He's very small. Let's take him to look for a male-female. They must be very worried. Although he is small, he is a male. Leave him be. At his age, even if you don't return home at night, the mother and father won't worry. He's not a female cub. Who cares? Who worries about him? Senkian's eyes sparkled as she looked at the cub, full of tenderness. Uke quickly changed his mind. It's too sad. Let's help him find his parents. Uke greeted him righteously. Senkian stroked the leopard cub while following Uke through the market. Soon after, Uke wiggled his nose, pointing to a stall. Over there, the cub's mother is there. Senkian quickly approached the stall. What kind of vegetables are these? I couldn't resist carrying your cub. I got carried away by how cute the cub was. Yu blinked with eyes full of surprise. My little one is not bad at all. He already found a mate at such an early age. It was then that Senkian noticed that something was wrong. With some embarrassment, she returned the leopard cub to Yu. Quote, I'm sorry, he's so adorable. I couldn't help but hug your cub. I got carried away by how adorable he is. Quote, petting the cub. My little one didn't hurt you, did he? My name is Yu. Why? Yue's smile made Senkian relax. My name is Senkian. My name is M.I. Quote, your leopard cub is very cute. What kind of dish is this? Yu stroked the leopard cub who was being affectionate. She began to introduce them one by one. Do you want to try? Yu laughed, covering her mouth. Pass me a cucumber. Seeing Uke, she knew that this female was the one they had rescued from the serpent men. She couldn't help but approach. 3 years ago, she was also a female who escaped from the serpent men. It's okay, thank you. The refreshing fragrance of the cucumber made Senkian unable to resist eating it a few more times. It would be even better if it had sugar. "Are you from the arson tribe?" Senkian sat on the wood with the leopard cub obliged to work on her legs. Uke transformed into a tiger and lay down at Senkian's feet, trying to get the small female's attention. "Yes, 3 years ago I was rescued by Baoxun, who is this bastard's father from the Serpent Men. Since then, I've lived in this tribe. What are the Serpent Men like?" Yu thought about it and couldn't help but cross her arms. "Very terrifying." Yu turned with eyes full of joy. She got up and rushed into the man's arms. His cold body coiled around me. I felt like I was in the cold season. I tried to escape many times, but they always recaptured me. Those icy vertical pupils seemed ready to devour me at any moment. Senkian gently offered comfort. "Fortunately, all that is over now. Yes, don't be afraid. Our tribe is very strong. We've driven away many serpent men." "Is this your partner?" Yu pointed to Uke with a smile. Uke got up from the ground, took a few steps, adopting an imposing posture. "No." His ears drooped instantly. His fur lost its sheen. The poor shared and lay down at Sen's feet. At that moment, a man called Yu from behind. Yu turned with eyes full of joy. She got up and rushed into the man's arms. Baoxun held her firmly, nodding towards Sen and the others. A man as tall as his appearance conveyed much security. Senkian got up and stroked the leopard cub one last time. She returned the cub to Yu. "Then I'll go back first. When you have time, come play with me at the healer's house." "I will." Yu took the leopard cub and said goodbye to Senkian. Uke followed Senkian. His furry ears moved constantly. He almost seemed to have "pet me" written on his body. Today it rained lightly. She accompanied Ruige weaving bamboo baskets. Her gaze, which occasionally turned toward the window, reflected sadness. Senkian paused. "Uke is the youngest warrior in the tribe. The movements in my hands did not stop." She nodded slightly. "Do you want to go stay at Uke's today?" Senkian paused. She really shouldn't stay so long at Ruige's house. She was only causing them inconvenience. She couldn't help but nod with a bitter smile. Ruige was happy that Senkian was trying to accept Uke. She believed that by having a partner, Senkian would soon cheer up, just like Yu. And when the rain stopped, Uke, as usual, brought food to the healer to visit Senkian. Under the healer's teasing, he excitedly ran towards Senator 333. Senkian looked at Uke, who stopped in front of her with a distressed expression. She lowered her head and said, "I don't want to be your partner. I want to be your neighbor. You protect me, I will wash your skins and cook. I will do what I can. I can leave when you find a partner." She felt terrible. She didn't like him, but she still clung to him. She had no other option. In the Beastmen's world, she couldn't protect herself. It was all for survival. Perhaps in the future, she would look for a partner, but she wouldn't fall in love with someone she barely knew a week ago. "I won't look for another partner." Although Uke didn't quite understand the meaning of the self-destruction, he made her a very clear promise. Senkian sighed deeply, looking at the clearing sky. The air is full of the earth's unique fragrance after the rain. Although Uke didn't fully understand what Senkian meant, that silly tiger still jumped happily. "Run! They are serpent beasts!" Panic cries echoed in the distance. The tiger shot toward the screams. In the blink of an eye, his figure disappeared. Senkian's heart leaped abruptly. An indescribable sensation took hold of her chest. Almost instantly, an uncontrollable happiness dominated her thoughts. It colored her cheeks red. "It must be the big serpent!" She couldn't help but run toward the distance. Meanwhile, Yu was kneeling on the ground. Several beasts protected her around her. They faced a dark red python over 10 meters long. The python had countless ancient scars on its body, making it look even more terrifying. A wild beast was thrown away with a flick of its tail. Fortunately, Uke and Baoxun were agile and fast, barely managing to confront him. Senkian quickly ran toward Yu. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Yu trembled, leaning on Senkian to stand up. Today she had brought her companions to the river behind the mountain to wash beast skins, but they ran into the same big serpent that had once kidnapped her. In her eyes there was only fear when she saw that python serpent. The python, with his reckless fighting style, briefly managed to gain the advantage. He looked at Yu, his eyes full of madness and possession. Yu's companions fell one after another. Senkian's palms were covered in sweat. "Let's go quickly. If we continue like this, we'll die." Inside her, she kept repeating that she must remain calm. "Come with me!" Senkian holds Yuyu's hand. Taking advantage that Yuyu's companions were still fighting the python, she wanted to take Yuyu to the tribe first. That way, there would at least be a chance of survival. "I don't want to." Yuyu couldn't stop crying. Her legs trembled. "I can't abandon them. I won't abandon them. They are stronger than you. If you leave, they will have a chance to escape. If you stay, they will only continue protecting you here." Senkian pulled Yuyu forcefully to run toward the tribe. Yuyu, sobbing, looked back. She saw Boxin being strangled by the python, struggling with his limbs. "No!" Suddenly, she felt an immense force. She broke free from Senkian and ran toward Boxin. "I beg you, don't kill him. Please don't kill him." Yuyu sobbed without being able to speak. She used all her strength to try to separate the serpent's tail. The python's mad gaze shone with an imperceptible sadness. Orbital socket contraction. The tiger stood in front of her and was devoured whole by the python. The world suddenly fell silent. The tiger is no longer in sight. The flying serpent became even more enraged. It opened its enormous snowy mouth again in front of Senkian. Senkian wanted to run away, but fear paralyzed her legs. She could only remain petrified in the spot. At that precise moment, a white python broke in. The sharp fangs once again dug into the dark red python's body. The dark red python fell to the ground with resentment. She opened his mouth and stood up, about to return to Senkian. "Big serpent, please save Uke." Senkian's eyes, reddened from crying, pierced Shi's heart, leaving him breathless. Containing the pain in his heart, he transformed into a beast man and used his sharp claws to cut the serpent's skin to rescue Uke recovered his breath. He ran toward Yuye. He saw that Yuye was still crying over Baoxin. Senkian, for a moment, didn't know what to say. Quote, "He still has 3. That serpent didn't kill him. Take him quickly to the shaman doctor." Uke arrived, panting next to Baoxin. Now, apart from this unknown serpent beast, he was the only male with remaining strength in the place. He carried Baoxin and looked at Senkian with concern. "Go quickly with Yuyu to take Baoxin to the shaman. Call more males to help." Senkian felt completely calm. "I'll be fine. I'll wait for you here. Go quickly." Uke nodded. He had Yuyu ride him and quickly ran toward the tribe. Senkian looked back at the big serpent. For a moment, she was engrossed. Quote, "So my big serpent is so handsome." Senkian smiled until her lips almost split. She noticed the small female's gaze. His upright posture leaned slightly. A touch of inferiority. Males usually resemble their father at birth. Few resemble their mother. They look weak. Women don't like it. Shigali was one of those who resembled his mother. That's why he avoided showing himself to Senkian in his beastman form before. "Leave me alone!" She covered his face, backing away step by step. "Why can't I see you? You abandoned me after not seeing me for a short time." Senkian ran and threw herself toward Shi. "Who is your small female? Don't think that just because you're handsome you can decide just like that." Hearing Senkian say that, Shi quickly stroked Senkian's back. He whispered softly, "You are my small female. I will never abandon you." Who is your small female? Don't think that just because you're handsome you can decide just like that? You already claim rights without even confessing. How can you be like that? She looked into Senkian's eyes and said word by word, "You are my woman and you can only belong to me." Senkian was so ashamed that she looked like she would explode. "That's the important thing here. Please don't keep talking. If you continue, she will do as she pleases. If it's not this, it's that you're handsome." She froze. The happiness in his heart was unrestrained. As long as his small female didn't despise him, there was nothing better than this. Senkian hit the big serpent's chest. "Evil serpent, why did it take you so long to look for me? You arrived a long time ago, right? Otherwise, how could you save her just in time?" She silently lowered his swinging tail. That day he returned to his lair. The strange male scent drove him crazy, but too much time had passed. The male's trail was very faint. He could only follow Senkian's path, smelling the places where she passed, chasing the tiger man's footprints. When he saw Senkian again, she had already settled in the witch doctor's house. He saw how the witch doctor applied medicine to her every day. The serpent knew that he couldn't cure her wounds, so he decided to wait for her to heal to retrieve her. But when she recovered, she seemed happy there. She even learned the local language. Seeing Senkian chatting with the women, he didn't understand why he felt something strange in his chest. He doesn't want his small female to talk to anyone, but he also believes that the small female deserves to be happy. Should he let her return to the tribe? Maybe he is sick, but his ancestral memory tells him that he must retrieve the small female. He hesitates. He loves to see her smile. He doesn't think about looking at her once more before leaving. But no matter how much he looks, he never tires of doing so. Senkien let out sounds of complaint out of the big serpent's arms. Quote, "You are a beast man. Why didn't you say so before?" "Then you are not afraid of me?" Senkien raised her head. What she said seemed very interesting to her. "I'm not afraid of you in beast form, and now that you're so handsome, even less. Now it's your turn to be afraid of me." She was agitated upon hearing this, and his gaze became erratic. "Then would you agree to be my partner?" Senkien frowned, pretending to reflect. She waited until the big serpent went from tension to disappointment, then let out a melodious laugh. "I am very willing, silly serpent." The two sat on the rock, waiting for the others to arrive. Senkien blushed under the big serpent's gaze. She extended her right hand and asked timidly, "Do you want to take my hand?" A large hand covered a small hand, gradually intertwining their fingers. The wind caressed their faces. She smiled foolishly. Senkien hummed a melody while looking away. When Yuke returned, he found this scene. Although it was summer, he couldn't feel the heat. "It's the serpent beast. It's a serpent beast. There are females. Everyone be careful." She, surrounded by the beastmen, lost his innocent expression from before. He protected Senkien behind him. His vertical pupils shone coldly as he scrutinized the group. The beastmen bristled their hair, but their animal instinct told them that they couldn't defeat this serpent beast. The atmosphere became increasingly tense. Senkien peered from behind Shi's waist. "Don't worry, everyone. He won't hurt you." All the males on the ground were saved by him. The python serpent was also eliminated by Shi. Furthermore, he is the savior of these people. Uke also reacted quickly. He stopped his tribe members. "First, take the injured back to the tribe." "But he is a serpent beast," Uke roared. "Go back!" When the other beasts had left, Uke looked hesitantly at Senkien. He opened his mouth, yet said nothing. He had already recognized that serpent beast, full of hostility toward him. The serpent beast is the one from a manhwa forest. He also noticed that Senkien really liked that serpent beast. A mocking smile appeared on his lips. In the end, it really had been his fault. "Ook, he is my partner. He is also my only male," Senkien declared bluntly. When Yuke stood in front of her, her resentment toward Yuke for having kidnapped her disappeared. She is happy to be Yuka's friend. Quote, "My name is Seki." She was clearly flattered by Senkien's words. His hands stealthily wrapped around Senkien's waist. After a prolonged silence, Uke asked, discouraged, "Then will you stay in the tribe?" "I want to wait until autumn to leave." "It's okay. At the last market I saw many things I liked. Now that my serpent is with me, I can buy everything I want in autumn." "I'm still very excited, of course." Uke cheered up, but looked at Shi and spoke with difficulty. "But he can't. The tribe does not accept serpent beasts." Senkien held the big serpent's hand tightly. She nodded to Uke. "We will live near the back mountain. I will go to the tribe occasionally to see Ruij and Yuyuye." Uke said nothing more. After looking deeply at Senkien, he left. They found a cave not far from the river. There were 2 trees blocking the hole. They could block some of the sunlight, but they couldn't withstand the intense heat. After transforming into a human, the big serpent moved much more agilely. With a single movement of his claw, he knocked down a tree and immediately began to make furniture there. Senkien was not idle either. She prepared an improvised door with lotus leaves to better block the sun's rays. She also looked for vines to weave a large fan. After all, the big serpent liked cool places, so she got to work. She leaned in the shade and began to weave. She felt excited thinking about settling down with the small female. He remained busy and happy. Senkien tied the woven vines to the lotus leaves. Thus, a simple door curtain was ready. She stood up and shook her arms. The pain suddenly appeared. Senkien couldn't help but laugh. She's been doing that for so long. The big serpent was serving the cooked meat in a bowl. "The fish soup is ready. Come have some. I'm also making rabbit meat. It will be ready in a moment." Senkien's heart pounded like a startled fawn. She quickly ran toward the big serpent. "Here I am, wife." Quote, "What does wife mean?" "It means you are my male partner." Senkien held the bowl while saying nonsense seriously. The big serpent was very happy. He laughed foolishly with joy. "Then I am Senkien's wife. You are my wife. In the future, you must call me husband. Understood?" Senkien was laughing so hard that she was out of breath. She slapped her thighs while laughing like a goose. The big serpent saw how happy the small female was. The big serpent imitated her goose laugh. The two silly ones laughed nonstop. Senkian felt that they both seemed stupid at that moment, and that made her laugh even more without being able to stop. Ha 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 ha. Senkian covered the big serpent's mouth. Lying in the serpent's arms, she panted heavily. Stop laughing! The strength increased. If someone asked Senkian what she was laughing about, she really wouldn't know what to say. Because the big serpent said he was her wife, well, it's not that either. Maybe it's just that happiness without reason. They felt happy together for no apparent reason. After Senkian finished eating the roasted meat, Senkian started weaving bamboo baskets. Senkian was sweating from the heat. Her eyes rolled thoughtfully. Incredible. Simply incredible. Look how they are nailed and perfectly aligned, as they should be. No one else could have done it like that. You are incredible, big serpent. Although he didn't understand why the small female was praising him for something so small, that didn't stop the serpent from showing a proud expression. Why is it so hot? I wish there was some breeze. Senkian sighed deeply. The big serpent, without saying a word, went to the river to collect lotus leaves to fan the small female. Senkian lay in the chair, enjoying the beauty of summer. In front, a handsome man fanning her. Behind, fruits and snacks. She really wanted to write the Peach Blossom Paradise. That same night, Senkian remembered what Ruish had said, that the tribe collected corn and wild vegetables in the surroundings. She didn't dare to pick it up before, but now she had the big serpent with her, so she would definitely go look around to see if she could find wild vegetables. She took the newly woven basket and entered the forest with the big serpent. If you ask how to distinguish wild vegetables to a modern useless person, then this Senkian would know. Big serpent, can this be eaten? Will I have diarrhea if I eat it? Senkian jumped happily in front of the big serpent. Every time she saw a plant that looked different from grass, she asked the big serpent if those plants could be eaten. The big serpent didn't understand why the small female pointing to the grass on the ground, asking if it could be eaten. Did the small female grow up eating grass when she was little? Why, after searching so much, haven't I found anything edible? Senkian frowned with concern. Suddenly, as if having an epiphany, although superficially they only look like weeds, perhaps like radishes, they are all underground. Senkian symbolically rolled up her sleeves. Under the big serpent's confused gaze, she began to dig. As expected, she found nothing. Senkian put her hands on her hips, raised her head, and laughed heartily. She wiped away a bitter tear and continued searching for the desired wild vegetables. The mountain path became narrower and narrower. She slipped slightly as she walked. Senkian, without hesitation, rushed into the big serpent's arms. As they traversed the narrow and winding path, her eyes suddenly opened. A green hillside. The hillside is higher in the west and lower in the east. On the west side, some very tall trees grew scattered. To the east, all the way up, was covered with fluffy grass. How strange to find a vegetable that I recognize, Senkian burst out laughing. Heaven doesn't want me to die. Senkian hurried to get out of the big serpent's arms. She enthusiastically collected a large amount. She planned to take them home to make grass cakes. Just thinking about the texture of the cakes made her mouth water. Big bear, big serpent, tonight I will prepare something super delicious for you, so look forward to it. She worriedly bent down to pick up the grass that the small female said was tasty. He cautiously tasted it. I can't eat grass. The taste is terrible. Silly serpent. This vegetable can only be eaten cooked. Senkian couldn't help but pinch the big serpent's face. The texture was so nice that she couldn't stop touching it. The big serpent allowed Senkian to mold his face as she wished. He replied in a choked voice. Senkian said that if she said it could be eaten, then it could be eaten. Senkian laughed, satisfied. You look like a submissive little wife. Senkian crept up a few steps, as if she had suddenly discovered something. Not far from her, there was a capercaillie eating sweet potatoes with its head down. Senkian signaled the big serpent to approach. She pointed to the capercaillie. She put her right hand on her neck and made a dominant beheading gesture. Of course, the big serpent did not understand the small female's gestures, but he still caught the capercaillie and handed it to Senkian. Senkian snatched the sweet potato from the capercaillie's mouth. She excitedly searched around the place where the capercaillie was. Unfortunately, she found nothing. She asked the big serpent with some disappointment. What I want to find is this. Do you know where there are more? The big serpent reflected for a moment. "These can be found near the rivers and black lands. I will look for it later. Better we look for it tomorrow. Now let's go home first." Senkian, in a good mood, placed 3 sweet potatoes in the bamboo basket. She had the big serpent put the capercaillie in the basket too. The big serpent held Senkian in one hand. With the other hand, he lifted the bamboo tube and set off on the way back. When they returned to the cave, the sun had not yet set. Senkian gave the capercaillie and the sweet potatoes to the big serpent. Impatiently, she began to cook the soft vegetables. Later, she planned to make green dumplings. Green dumplings with bean paste are the richest. She's back. Then let's make them stuffed with meat. She likes them too. Just thinking about it makes the water flow again. Senkian wiped the corner of her lips and cooked with more zeal. A small pot of soft vegetables. After scalding them, only the size of an adult's fist remained. Senkian put it in a bowl and squeezed the juice. Then she poured the juice into another bowl. After that, she only had to add glutinous rice flour and knead it to form the dough. Senkian's smile froze. Glutinous rice flour. She didn't make it. "What's wrong?" The big serpent came out of the cave. He saw the small female kneeling in front of the pot, discouraged. He quickly approached the small female. Senkian looked up complainingly. "I won't be able to make something delicious tonight." The big serpent looked at the herbs in the bowl. He stroked her head. "This is already ready. Only the glutinous rice flour is missing." What is glutinous rice flour? It is a powder made from the fruit of a plant. Senkian described its approximate appearance. While thinking, quote, "When I find it, I will prepare it for you. You have to trust me. These herbs are indeed edible." The big serpent picked up Senator. He gently removed the remaining herbs. "I believe everything you say." Senkian blushed. She wrapped her arms around his neck. She wanted to say something, but looking into the serpent's eyes, she could clearly hear her heart beating. At that instant, she couldn't help but close her eyes. She gently caressed Senkian's face. Time seemed to stop. There is sweetness in the air. "Have you eaten yet?" Senkian opened her eyes a little. Then she gave the big serpent a strong punch on the chest. She sighed while looking at the sky, while the big serpent touched his chest with a confused expression. Fortunately for dinner, there was still a capercaillie. At least, dinner was secured. The big serpent prepared the food skillfully, heating water in the pot, while Senkian felt like she was digging a hole in the ground. After making an anti-flame circle, he placed the roasted sweet potatoes inside. He covered everything with leaves and branches before lighting the fire. In his free time, he decided to catch some seafood from the river. He planned to visit Yuyue in the tribe the next day. The fish and shrimp in the river had many bones, which is why these beasts didn't like them. Over time, there were many fish. She used a bamboo basket as a fishing net. He took advantage when the fish stopped to quickly catch them. Thus, she caught 2 fish. Proudly, she showed the bamboo basket to the big serpent. Only after receiving praise did she walk away contentedly. She found a hollow rock to keep them. "Will 2 fish be enough?" She looked worriedly at the swimming fish. Suddenly, there was movement in the grass. A mountain pheasant peered out. An astute glint shone in Senkian's eyes. The pheasant, looking for food, instinctively sensed danger. Noticing that Senkian was approaching, it immediately flapped its wings and escaped flying. "Esteemed sir, since you are here, stay for dinner!" Senkian gave the pheasant a flirtatious smile. She raised her leg and ran after it. The pheasant shrieked repeatedly, dodging with skillful movements, without letting Senkian touch it. Later, he discovered that Senkian couldn't even reach him. He even started taking his time. There was even a hint of provocation. Senkian wanted to give up, but being humiliated by a pheasant was the last thing she expected. She roared furiously. She ran at full speed to catch up with the pheasant. She jumped and grabbed its claw. The pheasant was scared. It flapped wildly. Senkian received unexpected slaps due to carelessness. She released her grip. Seeing that the pheasant escaped, she didn't even have time to get up before quickly moving, crawling to try to catch it. The pheasant's intense survival instinct, screaming and climbing the tree with wings. Senkian sat down, dumbfounded. The big serpent cooking heard the commotion. He looked at the small female, who seemed to be having fun, and gave an indulgent smile. "Get down yourself, or I won't be gentle with you." Senkian stood up with a serious expression. The pheasant in the tree seemed not to perceive the danger. It kept cackling to provoke the human below. 3.4, she sighed deeply in anger. She looked at the sky at a 45-degree angle. Maybe it's better to give up. By then, the pheasant was already cackling victoriously. Quote, "Big serpent, bring down this darn pheasant." A stone flew from the distance, precisely hitting the insolent pheasant in the tree. She happily advanced and picked up the pheasant. She gave its butt a few strong slaps. Only that calmed her fury. "Tie the pheasants and put them in the cage." She went to the river to wash her face. She fixed her messy hair after catching the pheasant. She looked at her reflection in the water and sighed deeply. "Mom, what animal is that?" Answering herself in a feigned voice. My baby, that is garbage." After tidying up, she went out. She took out the roasted sweet potatoes. She gave one to the big serpent. The steaming roasted sweet potatoes are delicious. Their dry texture had a sweet chestnut flavor and was very tasty, a sky full of stars. I heard the matches lighting up and the continuous singing of the cicadas. She turned her head toward the big serpent. The night breeze gently caressed her. Suddenly, a thought arose. "It's night. Big serpent, close your eyes." She closed his eyes. He felt soft lips pressing against his, with a slight floral scent, like a dragonfly grazing the water. He opened his eyes, surprised. His golden vertical pupils shone like stars. Sinkian in front of him had flushed cheeks. Her tone had a hint of pride. "Big serpent, when a girl closes her eyes, it's because she wants you to kiss her." The big serpent instinctively licked his lips, savoring the sweet memory. He directly threw Sinkian onto the grass. "Silly big serpent, what are you doing? Didn't you say that closing your eyes was for me to kiss you? Am I closing my eyes?" The forest, enveloped in darkness, was especially sinister and terrifying, but snuggled in the big serpent's arms, she only felt tranquility. Sinkian suddenly opened her eyes. Who could tell her what the hell this was? What the hell is a firefly? She could clearly see the tiny hairs on the insect's face. "I'm going to die, I tell you. Abandoned serpent. If a single insect touches one of my hairs tonight, you won't have offspring in your entire life." Today, she had searched the surroundings and accidentally found these luminous insects. Sinkian remembered the insects from before, so she decided to lower the curtain. Only when the big serpent lit the fire did the cave light up. She, with some guilt, instantly released his intimidating aura. The fireflies around them moved away. Sinkian wiped the cold sweat of fear. She patted her chest, feeling the relief of a narrow escape. "This is the first time I've seen insects since I arrived here." After many setbacks, they finally returned to the cave. Originally, the entrance of the cave pointed toward the moon, allowing its light to enter, but Sinkian, remembering the insects from before, decided to lower the curtain anyway. Only when the big serpent lit the fire did the cave light up. She noticed that in a corner of the cave there was a handful of rice. She took the golden grains with her hands and looked at the big serpent incredulously. "How did you find them?" "You described it in detail. I went looking for it and I saw it." Today he spent all day touring many places. The big serpent understood. Seeing Sinkian's happy expression made it all worthwhile. Sinkian learned the next day. Sinkian got up early. Sinkian hugged the big serpent. "The big serpent is incredible. I love you so much." The big serpent blushed. "What is love?" "It's more than just liking." The big serpent understood. He hugged Sinkian tightly. "Then I love you more than you imagine." The next day, Sinkian woke up very early. She wanted to prepare breakfast for the big serpent, but she saw Shi preparing to go out hunting. She was a little surprised when he heard the voice, so he was not in a hurry to leave. Return to Sinkian also returned to the steppe. "You woke up so early today. Why don't you sleep a little more? I can't see you when I wake up. I can't sleep. Why are you going out so early today?" "Hunt early. When you wake up, I can spend more time with you." Sinkian hugged the big serpent. "How about we go hunting together? That way I can spend more time with you." The big serpent frowned. "Okay, hunting is very dangerous, but I want to be with you in everything I do." The big serpent couldn't resist Sinkian. He gave up after only 2 phrases, so he had no choice but to take her hunting. Sinkian was in a very good mood, sitting on the serpent's head. "Faster, ha 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 ha!" When transforming into a serpent, both his speed and his strength far exceeded his humanoid form. It was as fun as a roller coaster. After the big serpent left her on a tree, she silently watched Shi hunting under the tree. The big serpent slowly approached the wild boar. The poor wild boar didn't know he had been marked. He remained immersed in his own world. Instantly, the big serpent violently launched forward. In an instant, he firmly wrapped the wild boar. The wild boar stopped struggling in less than a minute. After the big serpent let Senkien, still shocked, down from the tree, he happily freed a hand to hold the tail of the pig and return home. Upon arriving at the cave, Senkien took out all the rice and spread it on the ground. Using a piece of wood, she began to crush it. Meanwhile, the big serpent processed the wild boar by the river. Senkien took a long time to dig only half. Shaking her sore hands, she prepared to ask the serpent for help, but just looking at the serpent's back, a mischievous idea arose. She held her breath and crept up. Although the serpent noticed Senkien, he continued roasting the meat without suspecting anything. Senkien squinted her eyes. She adopted a posture and pounced on the serpent. With a tug, she hugged the big serpent's waist and coiled around him. The big serpent let out a mocking laugh. Lying softly on the ground, he crawled forward with small struggles. "Have mercy on me, darling! I don't want to die for the third time," growls. "If I tangle you, give up the futile struggle. If you want to live, cook me some juicy roasted meat." While Senkien ate the pork ribs, the serpent had already finished the structure as she requested. She brought the roasted meat closer to the serpent's mouth. Senkien smilingly told him to open his mouth. The serpent took a bite. His expression remained neutral while he continued working the stick. Unknowingly, his restless tail behind him gave him away. She lightly washed her hands. She planned to use the rice husks to separate the grains, taking advantage of their lightness to obtain the clean grain. She wanted to prepare the serpent a bowl of morning soup. She had to do it herself to feel satisfied. After her hard work, "I have finally finished collecting all the rice." Senkien excitedly took a handful of rice with her hands. "Big serpent, at noon go hunt a capercaillie. I will cook you vegetable and chicken porridge. I'm going to the tribe. Send some rice to Yu and the others. Then I will go to Yu's house to ask for some vegetables." The big serpent's hand holding the bone needle trembled. "Now, yes. If not, how am I going to prepare you the chicken soup with vegetables?" Senkien took the small bag with a radiant smile. "Fill it with rice inside. Oh, right, I have to talk to the leader about something. You don't have to wait for me for lunch. Eat it first." Senkien gathered her things. She extended her hand toward the big serpent. "Let's go." The big serpent picked up Senkien and, like yesterday, took her near the tribe. "I'll be close. If you call me, I'll come right away." "I know." Senkien trotted a stretch. After turning around and waving goodbye to the big serpent, she entered the tribe until her figure completely disappeared. The big serpent finally set off on the way back. He doesn't want to be alone. He wanted to be with her, but he knew that the tribe would not welcome him well. Senkien walked a long way before reaching the leader's cave. "You are really the leader?" Two tigers guarded the entrance. "Hello, I'm looking for the leader. Could you please let him know?" The two tigers exchanged a few brief words. Another entered the cave. Shortly after, he came out and signaled Senkien to enter. The cave is very long. Inside, it was completely dark. This inevitably made Senkien nervous. She advanced carefully, touching the wall. After leaving the cave, Senkien was amazed. The landscape here is completely different from the outside. Uke, sitting under a tree, looked at her with an indecipherable expression. She touched his nose and smiled awkwardly. She called the leader. "You have changed a lot." Tigerji stood up. "What brings you here?" Senkien blinked twice. He has changed a lot in one night without seeing her. "Leader, trademark. I want to know from you of this type to make clothes. Can I trade something for some? How much do you want?" Senkien's eyes sparkled. "Can I take a look?" Uke took her to the cave where he kept his goods. Although it is not large, the treasures inside left Senkien amazed. There were only 10 pieces of cloth from the Spider-Man. Senkien touched it, and the texture was like silk. She instantly loved it. She wanted to make 2 sets of clothes for each one with the big serpent to facilitate changing and washing. "Can I take 4? Asking for almost half at once made Senkien blush slightly. "It's okay." Ook nodded. "A red-horned deer for each piece of silk. Take it first. The deer can be given later, okay?" Senkien hugged the silk filled with joy. Ook, sitting on the stool, sketched a faint smile. Before leaving, Senkien couldn't help but express her doubt. "Leader, who made your clothes?" "My partner did it." Uke spoke sweetly when saying those words. His fingers rested on the sleeve. He lowered his gaze, hiding the deep longing in his eyes. "What? The leader has a partner?" A cry of surprise. The birds and animals in the forest scattered. Senkian covered her ears, not understanding why the two were so surprised. Yu did not forget to offer Senkian a bowl of corn porridge. She began to explain that in her 3 years there, she had never seen a woman near the leader. Even Ruij was incredulous. "I was saved by the leader 10 years ago. I saw him build the tribe step by step. He certainly had never been seen with a partner." Hearing them talk like that, Senkian's heart pounded rapidly. The campfire of days passed. The long mini-style robes. The unmatched inner garments. In the Beastmen's world, now she is sure that the leader's partner, like her, is a time traveler. Just like her, he was a traveler from another world. Then could it be that he has already returned to his original world? That would mean she has a chance to go home. Senkian's heart raced, and her eyes sparkled with hope. But the emotion lasted briefly. She remembered the big serpent. If she returns, what will become of the big serpent? Senkian couldn't ignore the discomfort in her heart. Quote, "There is something I want to ask you. What is it?" Both exchanged glances and asked in unison. Quote, "The big serpent cannot enter the tribe. I want you to visit my place often because the serpent men are nomads. When she is not here, I wonder if the serpent will feel lonely when he is alone." The campfire of a few days ago, she thought about how the big serpent would be at that moment. What will they be doing? If it were her, she surely wouldn't endure the loneliness, so she was impatient to see the big serpent. Yu hesitated. Although Senkian's partner had saved them, what she feared most were the serpent beasts. But seeing her friend's pleading look, she couldn't refuse. She could only clench her teeth and accept. "Great! Ruij, will you go?" Senkian jumped and turned, looking at Ruij with hope. Ruij also didn't want to refuse, but she could only shake her head apologetically. "I am the healer. I cannot abandon the tribe. This is the rule of every tribe. If one day the tribe accepts the serpent beasts, I will definitely go see him." Although it is a pity, Senkian was still happy. "Try this," freshly roasted corn. Meanwhile, she coiled in a tree, flicking his forked tongue, doing nothing. Serpent Beast can go 7 days without eating after a good feast. Normally, he only eats a few bites, accompanying Senkian. Now that Senkian is not here, he also has no need to eat. When a serpent was only patrolling his territory and sunbathing every day, his life became more interesting by having offspring. Every time Senkian went to the tribe, he waited for her, watching from this tree. Loneliness. Although it's not that either, because since he can remember, he has always been waiting. Now it's almost like an instinct. She suddenly raised his head because he smelled Senkian's trail. Senkian hugged the silk cloth tightly. Her bright eyes showed without disguise the joy of seeing the big serpent. "Sen, look what this is. It's silk cloth woven by the Spider-Men. The leader and I wanted it, but it cost 4 red-horned deer." She showed the cloth to the serpent as if it were a treasure. She took the cloth she held. "I'll go hunt a red-horned deer in a while. When we return, make me a nightgown like the one you were wearing when we met. Make yourself some sets too. Don't be topless all day. Don't forget that now you are a married man. You must remain decent. Change those bad habits you had, understood? You can only show it to me. She and the others come to visit. Suddenly, your parts will be exposed. You have to make clothes." The serpent is also very tall. When they walk together, she only reaches his chest. Senkian stealthily looks at the slight bulge in his belly. Like a thief, whistling with guilt, she looked at the sky. If I remember correctly, serpents usually have 2. The big serpent felt that Senkian was acting strangely, but he was already too distracted by her words. He replied with a foolish smile and nodded. The big serpent touched the silk cloth. Senkian returned to the big serpent's side with cheerful steps. In a short time, the big serpent was already following the design he remembered to sew. He made a rough sketch of the garment. "Big serpent, you have very skillful hands." Senkian took the new garment. It was exactly like her nightgown. Without waiting any longer, she went to the cave to change into the new clothes. Senkian returned toward the big serpent with a happy step. "Big serpent, do I look good in these clothes?" "I could say, you look incredible." She thought she was destined to wear this type of clothing. She was much more beautiful than the beast skin garments. Suddenly, he wanted to go to the spider tribe, get all that type of silk cloth. He asked she to make one for himself based on her own clothes. When the big serpent put on the new garment, Senkian almost completely melted. She would fight for a man with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. She couldn't understand why a man could be so seductive in this way. She really felt like devouring him. Senkyan suppressed her restless impulses. She repeated to herself again and again that love is moderation. Putting those thoughts aside, the big serpent captured 2 pheasants. She wanted to try raising the hen to see if she would lay eggs like the chickens in her world. As for the rooster, she raised her knife. She scalded and plucked, cut into pieces and cooked. She added 3 bowls of rice and thus prepared a fragrant rice soup. Senkyan quickly served a bowl for the big serpent. "Be careful, my love. Blow and eat." The serpent held the bowl. He blew and took 2 bites. Under Senkyan's expectant gaze, he nodded approvingly. "It's delicious." Senkyan raised her head proudly. "If it's tasty, eat more. I will do it often for you in the future." Senkyan also filled a bowl and began to eat. "The taste is still a bit bad, not as delicious as Mom's. It's not as good as when Mom prepares it." "Big serpent, big bear, what will happen if one day I disappear?" The big serpent looked at her with eyes full of confusion, as if he had suffered a great injustice. "Why would you disappear? Is it because I asked you to cook for me?" Senkyan twisted her lips and suddenly couldn't continue feeling sad. "Let's not say that I am captured. There won't be a second time. I will protect you." He thought that Senkyan was remembering bad times. He held Senkyan and comforted her gently. "What if I want to leave alone?" The big serpent's eyes filled with panic. He didn't understand why she said that. Ancestral memories crossed his mind. His expression suddenly turned furious. He lifted her chin to force her to look him in the eyes. "Is it because of the tribe? I will not let you go." Senkyan frowned from the pain. Seeing the serpent acting out of the ordinary, she tried to explain herself, but her mouth was covered. The sudden kiss was like a declaration, a claim of possession that took her by surprise. Senkyan blinked. From submissive wife to dominant CEO, she loved this version of the serpent. Unfortunately, they instantly separated. The big serpent seemed angry when he saw Senkyan's chin reddened by his grip. His heart hurt so much that he could barely breathe. He looked away in shame. He picked up Senkyan and returned to the cave. She is lying on the bed now, semi-upright, watching the gloomy serpent in front of her. The moment will finally come. Jealous men are the most adorable. Don't treat her delicately just because she is a fragile flower. At that moment, she placed Senkyan on the stone bed. He left the cave. She turned pale with fear. She wanted to run out after him, but she was trapped by the curtain she herself had made. She tried to push it. To her surprise, it didn't give way at all. "Darn serpent! Did you really block the entrance with a rock? Are you not capable?" "One that doesn't work, I understand, but not the second either. I have so many regrets, so many hopes. You know that. Take a deep breath and shout. I didn't even finish my soup." Instantly, a bowl of soup was slid inside. Senkyan, frustrated in certain aspects, transformed her indignation into appetite. She furiously drank 2 more bowls until her belly was round and satisfied. The night advanced. How to say it? The affected party now expresses deep regret. Abandoned serpent leaning against a stone to look at the moon. He didn't dare to enter. He feared Senkyan's hateful gaze. He could endure that contempt from anyone except her. The only thing he couldn't accept was her. He shouldn't have let Senkyan go to the tribe. No female who goes to the tribe wants to return. He, an ugly and dirty serpent beast. With what could he retain Senkyan? Let her hate me if she wants. I gave her a chance. He won't let go of you again. He will take Senkyan back to his territory, in a place where it's just him and her. A long time passed. He heard the constant breathing inside the cave. He knew that Senkyan was sleeping. Only then did he enter. In the darkness, he could see her sleeping face clearly. He gently caressed her cheek. The night advanced. The white tiger's ears twitched twice. Uke opened his eyes and ran out of the cave. Under the night, a python over 10 meters long left 4 red-horned deer on the grass. Looking at the white tiger, he prepared to leave. "You are the superficial man. Females should live in the tribe. A simple wandering serpent like you cannot take good care of her." These words deeply pierced Shi's heart. He emitted a threatening hiss. Uke transformed into a human form and looked him up and down. The python serpent left without turning his head. The words still hadn't finished. That python serpent left without turning his head. He laughed with self-contempt. He watched the sun gradually rise. Senkyan woke up naturally after sleeping deeply. When she opened her eyes, everything was still dark. She felt as if she had gone back in time. She got out of bed. She groped the stone wall to get out until she touched the door curtain. She cleared her throat and pretended to cry. I'm so hungry that my stomach is touching my back. I could devour an entire ox in one sitting. I don't want to become a hungry ghost. Where is my big serpent? I miss him so much. My hands hurt too. Last night I cried so much from missing him that my eyes swelled up. The cave is very dark. I'm scared. The serpent's heart was too cold. I didn't dare to touch him. The boiling water is too hot. I don't dare to drink it. Suddenly, a ray of light shone in the cave. The rock blocking the entrance disappeared without a trace. I ate until I was full. The big serpent who rushed in seemed agitated. Seeing that there was only thunder without rain, he finally regained his calm. Senkian was not going to miss this opportunity. She firmly grabbed the big serpent's hand. With a playful smile, she pleaded, "Don't be angry. I just answered that you are still. I was wrong, okay? At night, when you're not here, I'm scared and I can't sleep." The big serpent who had contemplated Senkian's sleeping face. Midnight. What's for breakfast today? Roasted meat and fruits. Okay, let's go eat. Saying this, she started to go out on her own, but before crossing the curtain, her wrist was grabbed by the serpent. Senkian, we've arrived. The big serpent did not finish speaking when an unexpected voice interrupted her from outside. He opened his eyes disconcerted. Although this was not his territory, everything smelled like him. Who would dare to enter like this? Yu outside the cave trembled just like Uke. Yu shrank behind Baoxan. They had arrived following the serpent's trail. It was all because of that phrase from Senkian, "Come visit me often." But they were still terrified. Xionglinga threw a newly hunted yak on the ground. Its enormous size made the ground tremble. Senkian's eyes sparkled. She took the serpent's hand and ran out of the cave. In a strangely tense atmosphere, everyone sat around the fire. Only the leopard cub played carelessly in Yu's lap. Come on. Try what my serpent cooked." Senkian cut a piece of barbecue and put it in Yu's bowl. Yu's hands trembled as she held the chopsticks. She bravely tried several times but failed to pick it up. She was very confused about why to use 2 sticks to eat, while still saying, "It's not that I'm afraid, I'm just not used to it." These are called chopsticks. Eat with them without getting your hands dirty. It's normal that you can't use them at first. I'll teach you. But the vinegar barrel next to her emanated an unbearable coldness. She could only get close to his ear and whisper, "Big serpent, don't be angry. I won't leave you. When I learn more vegetables with Yu, we'll go home, okay?" Although the big serpent did not speak, Senkian already knew that he was not angry. She had bad intentions, applying brute force against the big serpent. "When we return, I'll give you cubs, huh?" The serpent's eyes shone. He nodded forcefully. His tail wagged quickly, hitting the grass with strong snaps. After calming the big serpent, Senkian turned away, satisfied. Suddenly, everyone had strange expressions. She suddenly realized that the hearing of these beastmen was something that her time could not match. How is this different from defecating in public? Her face instantly turned 1,000 colors. She wished she could find a hole to crawl into. Fortunately, the big serpent no longer had a tense face. The atmosphere soon became cheerful. Like that night, Senkian had said that the roasted meat was delicious. The big serpent learned with Lang 1. After eating the roasted meat that the big serpent prepared for him, and as the fresh meat took time to roast, Senkian took Yue to play Wooden Man. Yu thought that this thing called a game was quite fun, having more fun than ever. In marked contrast to this atmosphere was Uke, sitting in a tree 100 meters away, melancholically observing Senkian, who laughed radiantly. Only after receiving the serpent beast's warning did he withdraw his gaze. From the day Yu arrived, it then rained for several consecutive days. Senkian moved a stool and sat at the entrance of the cave with great interest, showing her pale legs, letting the rain fall on them. This last month, Yu used to visit her with her companions. Little by little, they became familiar with the serpent and lost their initial shyness, but with the arrival of the rainy season, it was not very convenient to go out. They could only say goodbye with regret. The big serpent was always afraid that she would feel lonely, so he caught some white bunnies as pets for her. In reality, it is only a world for 2. Konorochi, that would be the happiest thing for her. How could she feel lonely? In theory, she was prepared to be with the big serpent back to the old place, but she didn't know what the serpent talked about with Boba, and they decided to spend the winter there before returning. Of course, she had no objections. All in all, with the big serpent, any place was home. Lately, the big serpent went out hunting frequently, all to prepare for winter, but the big serpent would not let her leave the cave. He said that getting wet in the rain would make her sick. How could he contain it? It was said that the rainy season lasted 2 consecutive months. If they stayed in the cave for so long, she would even grow mushrooms. Fortunately, the lotus leaf umbrella she had made days ago would be useful, so she decided to return to the cave to look for it. Sankian opened the umbrella and stood under the rain. Barefoot, she stepped on the puddles with contagious laughter. The lotus leaf umbrella trembled slightly in the air. The usually calm river flowed fiercely due to the rain. Sankian crouched down, watching the fish swim restlessly. It's just that the color of the water is a bit dull. With curiosity, she touched the water. A reddish, cold liquid flowed from upstream. In a few seconds, it became deeper and deeper. Sankian, frightened, fell to the ground. She saw a person floating downstream. "Leader!" She quickly got up and extended her hand to try to fish an unconscious person out of the river, but the current was too fast. When pulling on the sleeve, the force dragged her, almost making her fall into the river. Her soaked hair stuck to her body. She couldn't distinguish what was in front of her. She screamed desperately, "Big serpent!" Upon hearing her, the big serpent even left his prey. "Quickly return to the cave!" Instantly, he saw the alarming scene. He was so scared that he picked up Sankian. Uke was also dragged by the force. The big serpent quickly took Sankian back to the cave. He used the skin to dry the rain from her body. Between anger and worry, he told her, "Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you to stay still in the cave?" Sankian peeked from the beast's skin. She took her own to dress her. She remembered that Ook was still on the riverbank. She put a furry skin over him. "The big serpent, the leader, is still outside in the rain. Bring him inside first." Seeing the big serpent return carrying someone, she stammered as she asked, "How is he?" The big serpent stood behind Sankian. With gentle movements, he dried her hair. This was an accident, you know. When Sankian's hair is completely dry, I suddenly saw him being dragged by the river. I thought about rescuing him. It's human instinct. Next time you want to pet Sankian's head, call me first. Protect yourself, understood? Understood! Understood! Sankian saw that the big serpent had calmed down. Smiling, she kissed the big serpent's cheek. "On the ground, unconscious." "No!" When Sankian's hair was completely dry, the big serpent lifted Sankian carefully. He wrapped her tightly with beast skins. He only showed half of her face carefully. With the other hand, he held a lotus leaf umbrella that he had just collected. She only had a rainy face. The one who really should see the witch doctor is the one lying on the ground, unconscious. "No, big serpent, don't forget the leader." Sankian saw that the big serpent was about to leave. "Ruij," the big serpent stopped. Sankian struggled to get down. Shortly after, she arrived in front of the bamboo house. She got wet with the rain. She freed one of her long hands to gently knock on the door. Footsteps were heard from inside. Ruij opened the door. She saw a serpent beast holding something at the entrance. She backed away cautiously, but then smiled. "How can I help you?" "Ruij, it's me." Sankian struggled, trying to get down, but the serpent held her tighter. She soaked from the rain. Hearing a superficial voice, Ruij, who had not yet relaxed, was alarmed. Getting soaked in the rainy season is no small matter. If she gets sick, it would be difficult to survive in winter. Ruij signaled the serpent to enter. The serpent finally let her go, standing on the ground. "I can't help but hold my forehead and get wet in the rain. The important thing is not me, it's the leader, okay?" Ruij did not wait for Sankian to finish speaking. She held her jaw to examine her mouth. Upon confirming that nothing serious was happening for now, she served a bowl of the medicine they usually prepare in the rainy season. "How can you say you're not important? You are a female. Drink the medicine first." Sankian frowningly had no choice but to drink it. She only loved it once. She didn't even need the big serpent to pressure her to finish it in one gulp. Ruij only retrieved the bowl when she saw her finish. Already calmer. "The leader is outside now. There is an opportunity to talk," she warned the two who were inside the house. Ruij froze. She ran to open the door. Even the witch doctor, used to seeing the injured, couldn't help but cover her mouth. Ook, leaning against the wall in a stupor, was covered in mud and disastrous weeds, unrecognizable. Ruij had never seen the leader injured, much less with this appearance. She tried to drag the leader forcefully, but the leader did not move. Seeing this, the big serpent picked up Uke. "Put him inside." Senkian opened her eyes wide immediately. She remembered that he was not like that before leaving. Since Uke was extremely dirty, she could only bring a few containers of water to clean the surface dirt. Senkian was about to lend a hand, but the big serpent stepped forward. "You got wet in the rain. Sit down and rest. I'll do this." The serpent's voice did not allow for a reply. She could only surrender. She sat in the chair, occasionally observing the progress. Upon cleaning all the mud from his body, multiple difficult-to-look-at wounds were exposed. Ruige was sweating profusely applying medicine, but her movements did not lose effectiveness. Senkian, feeling guilty, did not dare to look at his state. Quote, "They are just minor wounds, nothing serious. He only has a fever." Ruige collected the supplies and asked the big serpent to take the leader to bed. "I'm going to prepare the medicine." Senkian's gaze toward him showed a hint of pity. "Can you watch the leader for a while, okay? Here we are, the big serpent and I watching. Go quickly to prepare the medicine." Senkian nodded strongly. "Oh," Uke nodded. Senkian nodded strongly. "Wait for the product to be eliminated." She finally approached the big serpent to look at the man in bed. He was covered with animal skins. The exposed parts of his skin had medicinal herbs applied. "I don't know how long I was in the water." His fingers were all wrinkled. His face was reddened as if it were burning, almost dripping red. His lips were dry, cracked, and pale. He seemed to be having a nightmare. Sometimes he frowned slightly, other times he mumbled to himself. She touched Tiger Wind's forehead with the back of her hand. It was terribly hot. It was probably 40 degrees. Senkian looked at him with some compassion. As soon as she withdrew her hand from his forehead, Uke's eyelashes trembled slightly. Suddenly he opened his eyes. He raised his hand and held Senkian's hand. "You've woken up." Senkian sank her hand. Senkian tried to withdraw her hand uncomfortably. Senkian only felt anxiety. The big serpent next to her watched with a gloomy gaze, the two intertwined hands. His tail mercilessly struck the 4 pieces of silk. Ook gasped sharply from the pain but held on even tighter. "Don't go!" His lost eyes filled with tears. His face, softened by the high fever, looked helpless. Senkian only felt uneasiness. She was afraid that if the contact continued, the jealous one next to her would unleash chaos. Considering that Uke's partner might be her compatriot, and the 4 silk rolls, she contained her impatience and calmed him gently. "I'm not. Let go of me first. I won't leave." Ook, in his feverish delirium, completely ignored the terrifying tension. They all clung firmly to Senkian. Senkian had no other option. With resignation, she patted Uke. The instant he let go, she quickly withdrew her hand. "He's hurt. He probably has a 40-degree fever." In his world, that would already be reason to ask for an appointment with King Yan. His body emanated ferocity. She was lying to him. She was afraid that if the serpent hit with his tail, Uke would really disappear. Senkian explained with some resignation. She tapped the big serpent. "We are in his territory, so don't hit him. Besides, he is quite pathetic. He probably has a 40-degree fever." In his world, that would already be reason to ask for an appointment with the king of the underworld. "There is something else you probably don't know." The serpent looked at her confused. Sen cleared her throat. She began to recount. "A long, long time ago, back then, this tribe was established. Zen was still an inexperienced boy. One day, he found a small female and decided to become her. His partner cultivated the land, raised chickens and ducks, spending long years together. He thought he could love her all his life, but he didn't expect the whims of fate. One day, his partner chose to leave him and return to her own tribe. That's what she supposed. He wasn't even a serpent beast. Why would his partner abandon him? Quote, "Look how you talk. If someone wants to leave, what does it matter if he is a human beast? You are a serpent, but I love you, so I won't abandon you." The big serpent wags his tail and is in a good mood. The hostility around him dissipated. He hugged Senkian, pampering her affectionately. Senkian calmed the big serpent. Upon turning, she saw Uke watching her intently. She also noticed that showing affection in front of a patient was not appropriate. She immediately stopped smiling and moved away from the serpent's arms. Uke opened his eyes with effort to look at her. His gaze mixed joy and sadness. Senkian didn't know why she always felt that he looked at her as if he had known her for a long time. Ruige entered the room carrying the medicine. For no reason, the atmosphere felt strange. Senkian suppressed that. She sighed with relief. She also didn't stay any longer. The fire in the cave has gone out. The big serpent collected firewood and lit it again. The crackling sound of the fire brought more life to the cave. Senkian, recovering her energy, dropped onto the soft bed. She rolled happily. "I'll go hunting. Stay quietly at home." The big serpent passed Senkian fresh fruits. "It's over. Come back early." The big serpent returned later and later. The rainy season is crucial for beastmen to store food for winter. Knowing that the rain would continue for 2 months, she no longer insisted that the big serpent wait for the rain to stop. Although the big serpent resisted, for Senkian to have a better life in winter, he had to manage to hunt more food in the rainy season. The temperature dropped abruptly. Not only the beastmen, but the animals also did not go out much. The serpent returned later and later. In winter, it would be difficult to catch prey. No, the big serpent had been gone for a while. Senkian, having nothing to do, took part of the rice to the cave near her to feed the chickens. This cave was excavated when the big serpent decided to spend the winter here. Little rabbits! Senkian took the rabbits to the whole house. 2 rabbits came out, rubbing against her feet, jumping so adorably that they melted Senkian's heart. She left the rice. She took the rabbits and hugged them tightly. The rabbits in the area, like the fish, are not afraid of people. They ate wild herbs and fruits until they were fluffy. Their touch was very pleasant. She stroked the rabbits' ears and tangled them. "Did you eat well today?" Senkian took the rabbits to the house. "When you see that the bowl is empty, put carrots and water for the rabbits." The rabbits raised their ears. Upon falling, they devoured the carrots anxiously. A small return. They ate quite fast. She couldn't help but laugh. She stroked the rabbits' ears. The hen waited for a while and cackled impatiently. Senkian had no choice but to get up to give it rice. The raised chickens were also diligent. It laid a few eggs, although she wanted to take them, but this hen abused the weak and feared the strong. She tried several times. She could only wait for the big serpent to return to take them out. "Make some boiled eggs to try," Senkian sighed deeply. "I didn't even have time to collect them. You should repay me, shouldn't you? Why do you always peck me? Why are you always begging?" The sky suddenly lit up. The sound of thunder broke the silence. In an instant, everything plunged back into darkness. A torrential rain fell heavily, like a waterfall spilling onto the ground. The rice grains were scattered on the ground. She couldn't even take care of it. She adjusted the animal skin over her body. She ran back to the cave before the rain got stronger. The dark clouds covered the sky menacingly, blurring the limits of the earth. She couldn't distinguish between day and night. With every rumble of thunder, even more violent winds blew. Even someone used to typhoons, her heart was pounding. She leaned against the stone wall and was a little unstable. Her clothes waved in the strong wind. Senkian constantly looked into the distance. Her eyes reflected an uncontrollable worry. By this time, the big serpent would have already returned. Why is he delaying so much today? Hasn't something happened to him? Senkian couldn't help but think about the big serpent's safety. "Big serpent, please don't let anything happen to you.